Okay, this one I think is probably in response. It's not in really in response. I don't really do tit for tat videos, but in the searching of certain videos on my friends list, in terms of supposed black men who were awake or conscious, I came across one or two videos who were quite that were quite disparaging about Gaddafi, and the fact that Gaddafi is actually being killed. They're trying to, highlight the fact that there was racism going on under Gaddafi's regime, and obviously there was racism to a certain extent going on under Gaddafi's regime. But obviously, in that particular type of racism manifests itself in terms of immigrants and people who are passing through the potentially wealthy areas of Libya and who were trying to get into Europe as well. And that had absolutely nothing to do with Libyans or black people who were making a fully fledged effort to live in Libya. And, certain perceptions that I've been seeing from America have been grossly inaccurate. And, there's no point in me getting angry about it. They're on the other side of the world. They don't travel. They haven't been around Europe and other places in terms of North Africa like I've been able to do in order to soak up other cultures, to see other black people living perfectly well and with a perfectly decent standard of living in other North African cities with running water, perfectly good education, schools, transport infrastructure, nightlife, socializing areas, high standard of living, decent housing, and security. Uh, and that happens in North Africa. And that was actually happening in certain areas of Gaddafi's regime, especially in the south, especially in places like Tuarega, and especially in places like SIRTE and Bani Walid. You had a very decent middle class North African black population. Okay, and that's the norm. That is the bloody norm. The racism that is supposedly being expected and pushed on the Western media outlets is absolutely outrageous and contradict and flies completely in the face of any historical research or empiric evidence in terms of who actually populated that region before Islamic and Muslim invasion. And obviously, there has been a residue of black people who have always lived in Libya and had a very high standard of living under Gaddafi and were seen as perfectly equal Libyans. But what has transpired recently has been one of the biggest mass lynchings in recent history that I've been unfortunate enough to witness. And for any black person in America right now to be condoning the actions of NATO or this illegal tripartite of imperialist warmongers is so disgusting to me that I just had to make this video and show what happened to one of the very decent middle class areas of Libya with a very high black population known as SIRTE. And, Americans are so bamboozled and confined to their ghettos. And I think the ones who aren't confined to their ghettos and manage to make it to the suburbs have such a fucking carrot up their fucking arse that they can perceive that there could be black people on the other side of the world living perfectly, living to a higher standard than in America. Thank you very much. And that's why it has been destroyed. Now, you don't hear much about SIRTE. When I was hearing about SIRTE, I wanted to see what the fucking state of SIRTE was after NATO bombed it, because I know the majority of the population of SIRTE will be black people. And seeing as the NATO invasion was the most racist goddamn thing I've ever seen on in modern politics and invading history, with black people being lynched left, right, and centre of lampposts, for you to be a black American and not outraged, you are the fucking living Uncle Tom. Okay, I mean, I can't even get angry, because what you are is the walking, living, breathing example of the power of the Willie Lynch letter and its ability to create compliant Negroes. Okay, and that goes out to anyone who's made a stupid assumption as to the validity of a NATO massacre and genocide in North Africa. Fuck you if you think anything different. Yeah, you are the fucking diseased fucking turncoat, yeah, that moves among us. Yeah, watch this.
الله خذني على جناحك في مبسم ضاحك، فرحي من أفراحك يجمعنا حب الله. الله يجمعنا حب الله. الله خذني على جناحك في مبسم ضاحك، فرحي من أفراحك يجمعنا حب الله. الله يجمعنا حب الله. يجمعنا حب الله. الله الله
شبكة إبداع الإعلامية تقدم
مكتوب ومقدر، اصبر لا تتكدر، من صوتك تأثر، كل شيء بأمر الله. الله كل شيء بأمر الله. الله مكتوب ومقدر، اصبر لا تتكدر، من صوتك تأثر، كل شيء بأمر الله. الله كل شيء بأمر الله. الله يا نجم يا الساري، يا نهر يا الجاري، أدعي لك الباري تبقى بحفظ الله. الله تبقى بحفظ الله. الله يا نجم يا الساري، يا نهر يا الجاري، أدعي لك الباري تبقى بحفظ الله. الله تبقى بحفظ الله. مكتوب ومقدر، اصبر لا تتكدر، من صوتك تأثر، كل شيء بأمر الله. الله كل شيء بأمر الله. الله اعقلها وتوكل، لا تحول وتتحول، يا صاحب الأول ما يكفي غير الله. الله ما يكفي غير الله. الله اعقلها وتوكل، لا تحول وتتحول، يا صاحب الأول ما يكفي غير الله. الله ما يكفي غير الله. مكتوب ومقدر، اصبر لا تتكدر، من صوتك تأثر، كل شيء بأمر الله. الله كل شيء بأمر الله. الله لا تشتكي لا لا، لا تتبع لا لا، يا نجمي لا لا، خل شكوتك لله. الله خل شكوتك لله. الله لا تشتكي لا لا، لا تتبع لا لا، يا نجمي لا 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 لا، خل شكوتك لله. الله خل شكوتك لله. مكتوب ومقدر، اصبر لا تتكدر، من صوتك تأثر، كل شيء بأمر الله. الله كل شيء بأمر الله. الله خذني على جناحك في مبسم ضاحك، فرحي من أفراحك يجمعنا حب الله. الله يجمعنا حب الله. الله خذني على جناحك في مبسم ضاحك، فرحي من أفراحك يجمعنا حب الله. الله يجمعنا حب الله. يجمعنا حب الله.